Hey guys, what's going on? Obi here with the Lionstrong CEO, and I want to thank you guys for tuning in to another video. With my videos, I try to make sure that I discuss different health and related fitness topics, things that can become quite ambiguous to a lot of people, things that can confuse people from time to time, but I'm just here to help simplify things, make it digestible, so that way you guys don't get so confused on things. And so a topic I want to talk about today is macros, right? Macros, what are they? I'm sure you guys heard what they are or somewhat familiar, but this video is mainly more for people who, they're kind of confused on this. Are macros important when it comes to trying to lose weight? Are they important? Which one's more important? So I'm going to dive into all that. So for starters, what is a macro? So the term for macro is macronutrients, okay? So you have macronutrients and you have micronutrients. So a macronutrient is another word for saying, larger nutrients, and these consist of your proteins, your fats, and your carbohydrates. Micronutrients are, vitamins and minerals, and these are vitamin C, vitamin D, creatine, iron, all these trace minerals. That's what the micros are. And I tell a lot of my clients, the ones that I coach, I coach a lot of people in person. I coach people remotely. I do a lot of fitness consulting and health consulting with a lot of people. And when I talk to so many people, they always ask me, well, what should my macros be? What should my all this stuff? And I tell them, well, it depends on what your goal is. Well, if you're trying to lose weight or build muscle, to keep it simple, guys, it's really about your caloric intake. So if you're trying to, burn fat, I hate to say lose weight because that can get kind of convoluted. So I tell people the goal when you're trying to get tone, right? You want to try to get leaner. And getting leaner means keeping and maintaining your muscle mass while burning fat. It's not necessarily losing weight, because you can lose weight and still look worse than what you did before. So the goal is to always try to get lean if you're trying to drop body fat. So in pertaining to macros, always keep in mind, guys, whether you're bulking or you're trying to cut, your protein should always be high. Okay, so, or in other words, you should be eating your body weight in protein every single day. So for example, me, I'm 265 pounds, 270 pounds. So I need between 265 and 270 grams of protein a day so I can meet my macronutrient goal for protein. Now, in my personal opinion, I think protein is the most important macro because not only is it the easiest to understand, but when it comes to trying to sustain muscle mass and build muscle, that's simple to do, right? When it comes to carbohydrates and fats, those both are kind of correlated in this way. Typically, when you're eating a lot of carbs or high carbs, the calories are up. So people who are trying to bulk, build muscle, bulk up, I always tell these people to increase either your fat or your carbs. I rather people eat more carbs when trying to build muscle because it's easier to eat more carbs, right? So, and my carbohydrate of choice is white rice. Why? Because white rice is easier on the stomach. You're able to eat, cups and cups and cups of rice throughout the day, and you're not going to experience bloating or gas or indigestion, or feel full. It's pretty easy to put down. So a cup of rice, for example, is about 210 calories, give or take. So if I'm eating 4 cups a meal, right, that's 210 times 4, that's well over 1,000, okay, or close to. And then if you combine that with the protein you're supposed to be eating, that's how these people who are trying to bulk up, okay? So macros are just basically just protein, fats, and carbs. I found that usually whenever the carbs go up, calories goes up. Whenever the fats go up, calories goes up. So for those who are trying to stay leaner, you want to eat high protein, low carb. Okay, so how do you do that? How do you do that without increasing those calories? Simple. Whenever you drive the carbs down, right, you eat less calories. So, for clients of mine, I always recommend when you eat your protein, instead of going for that ribeye steak, go with a top sirloin, go with a filet mignon, something that's a lot leaner in cut, because the leaner it is, you're still benefiting from getting those micronutrients. So again, we talked about those micros. When you eat steak, for example, you're getting your creatine, your carnitine, arginine, iron, zinc. You're getting all these micronutrients. So you can still get those micronutrients without having to eat so many calories. Okay, and when it comes to steak, the calories, it basically comes down to what kind of cut you're eating. So I have a lot of clients that I recommend them eating steak. Not only is it fulfilling, not only is it something that allows you to get all your micronutrients without all the gas and bloating, and it keeps you satisfied, but I tailor it based off of what their particular goal is. Okay, so I have a guy that I train. He loves running the In-N-Out. He loves going to Five Guys, McDonald's, and all this stuff. And when I first met this guy, he said, well, I like eating this stuff and I don't know how I can give it up. I'm like, you don't have to give it up. We have to just be mindful of those calories. So let's look at this. So if you're trying to burn fat, we just got to keep your calories down. But I recommend you eating these burgers you like, just remove the bun. That way you can still get the best part, which is the meat, without eating all the calories. So, when it comes to like macros, guys, I think it confuses people. I think that people have to they think they have to count this. The only macronutrient that you should be mindful of is protein. And not only should you be mindful of that, it's actually easiest to understand. It's actually easiest to keep track of. So that's what I typically recommend. Now, people a lot of times like to subscribe to the If It Fits Your Macros. The reason why I don't like that is because according to If It Fits Your Macros, if it really came down to, well, as long as I'm getting my protein in, well, here's the problem with If It Fits Your Macros. You can eat Pop-Tarts and get protein. Is there protein in Pop-Tarts? Of course. You can eat Oreos. You can eat ice cream. There are technically, believe it or not, guys, these are foods that technically have protein in them. Now, obviously, is this the best quality food to eat? Of course not. You want to focus on eating your more complete proteins, and not just that, eating food that's going to keep you satisfied. That's why I recommend steak. That's why I recommend salmon. That's why I recommend, foods like this, because the reason why they're better to eat is because not only do they fulfill the macronutrient requirement, which is your proteins, fats, and carbs, but it also has a lot of micronutrients, and this is why you feel satisfied. There's a reason why when you eat a 8-ounce steak versus a bowl of ice cream, right? Believe it or not, guys, the steak will have less calories, more micronutrients, which, by the way, translation, it keeps you full, than the ice cream. The ice cream has more calories. Why? Because it has high sugar, and because of that, and also, yes, ice cream may have a few micronutrients like calcium and vitamin D. It is a dairy source, but unfortunately, it is for the most part void of nutrients. So therefore, it's going to keep you not full. And if you're not full, you're going to have these hunger cravings. If you have those hungry cravings, you're going to eat more. If you eat more, you're going to eat more. You're going to drive those calories up. So I just want to keep it simple, guys. You can count your macros if you want, but I like to keep things simple. I just focus on calories. I focus on eating the foods that's going to keep me full, that are, if I'm trying to, now we got to be specific. If I'm trying to trim down, right? The goal is low carb, high protein, low fat. Why? Why do we want to keep the fats and carbs down? Is because fat per serving is higher in calories than protein. It's also higher in calories than carbs. But here's the difference. Even though that carbohydrates and proteins both have 4 calories per gram, the difference is that carbs is a lot easier for your body to break down. Okay? Your body doesn't have to do as much work to break it down. But when you're eating protein, right? Especially if when you're chewing it, right? Chewing like a steak or some chicken, you have to constantly chew, and that constant chewing sends signals to the brain that, hey, you know what? I'm kind of tired of chewing. And that's what causes that satiating. It's called satiety. When you get that feeling of fullness, you get that from having to chew your food. So that's why you want to keep if you keep your proteins high and your carbs low, it's going to typically drive calories down. So it's simple, guys. You don't have to give up the foods you like. You don't have to cut out cookies or all this stuff. You can have these things. Just be mindful that these things that are typically high in added sugar, high in fat, and it doesn't matter if it's olive oil or healthy fats, it doesn't matter, it's all calories. And so fats, added flours and added sugars. So fats, flours, and sugars are the things that typically drive calories. So, when it comes to junk food, right, or foods that are void of nutrients, the key is you want to eat less of them. People will tell you to cut them out altogether. You don't want to do that. If you like cookies, that's fine, but you need to find out how many calories it is. You need to be mindful, okay, if I'm eating a crumble cookie, right, these are these huge cookies, you're looking at least between 800 to 1,000 calories a cookie. So, okay, if I must have this, why don't we cut it in fours, and I'll just eat a fourth a day. That way I'm getting a lot less calories in comparison to, if I eat the whole thing. But again, the reason why cookies are so high in calories is because, again, it's void of micronutrients, and it's void of protein. It's void of course it has protein in it, but it's not a complete protein, right? Typically, complete proteins are whole foods or animal foods. Okay, so I just want to make it simple, guys. When it comes to trying to build muscle, burn fat, the biggest thing is you want to be mindful of is your protein intake. Okay, so if you weigh, they say you need a half a gram to a gram. I keep it simple. I just say that I want a gram per pound of body weight. Okay, so that way you should focus on, and whether or not you're trying to trim down, less carbs, low fat. If you're trying to bulk, drive those. You can drive you can drive the fats or the carbs up. Either one is fine because you're trying to bulk anyway. So that's my breakdown, guys. I kind of went all over the place, but I just wanted to let you guys know that when it comes to macros, that's what they are: proteins, fats, carbs, macronutrients. And depending on which one you eat more of would determine your caloric intake. And again, do you need to be mindful of this if you're trying to, do either one? Not really. I think macronutrients make things complicated, but it is important to be mindful of your protein. Okay, so you shouldn't just be doing whatever. You need to be having a plan, having a goal, and I help people out with that. I help make life simple. That's one thing I love about being a coach. People come to me and they have issues, and my job is to make their life simple by taking the steering wheel. So anyway, guys, I don't want to make this video, it's already approaching 14 minutes. But yeah, guys, I appreciate you guys watching this video. Please like and subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be coming out with more content discussing these different topics that may confuse people all the time. But anyway, guys, thank you. This is Obi, the Lionstrong CEO, and I'll be back at you guys next time, okay? Have a great day. Thanks. Bye.